anchored and sponsored by Absa. We're going to start with an executive overview, and that executive overview is going to be given by Managing Executive for Corporate Citizenship at Absa Group, Dr. Stephen Zwane. Let's give him a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, as he comes up to set the scene for us. Dr. Zwane, over to you.
Thank you very much. I'm not sure if all these flying mics are for me. I certainly hope not, since I'm mic'd up. Good morning, everybody, and really thank you for the opportunity. It has been indeed an inspirational day, morning particularly. I think it kicked off with Professor Bonang's profound messaging. I think we all felt like we've been asked the right questions, and we should think about the right things. And I also liked the dialogue earlier. What stuck to me was this popcorn analogy that was put forward. It reminded me of my nephew, who probably suffered from the same popcorn situation. 4 months into university, he gives me a call yesterday. He says, I think I want to go to university next year. I want to deregister. He says, I am not coping. And now you can imagine, I'm the uncle now, I have to deal with this. I must tell you, I did not have an answer on how to address that. And I realized that he didn't have a break the whole 12 months, or whatever months that he was at school from grade 11 up until grade 12. He was at school from Monday till Sunday. And I think just maybe he was exhausted to send anything like that. So if anyone has an advice for me on how do I deal with my nephew in this particular instance, please reach out to me. I'll be on the floor. My role is to maybe just set the scene for why we are here as Absa. I think first and foremost, the opportunity to be part and parcel of a dialogue like this does not only enable us as a corporate to showcase what we do to try and move society forward or contribute to a better society, but it also allows all these thoughts and ideas for people with a common agenda of making a change in society to be part and parcel of the dialogue. I think for us it's just a massive opportunity to be here. Everybody knows the story of our organization that I think at the moment is about 2 to 3 years, given the leadership changes that have taken place. A lot of things that we've done was to sit back and take stock. There are a couple of things that we did when we took stock. Firstly, we said, how do we become more community-centric? How do we become more purpose-led? And I think a lot of the colleagues inside the organization gathered together and said, perhaps our role is to empower Africa's tomorrow, but we should do this together and not forget the story that matters of each and everyone that is part and parcel of our ecosystem. And once we were clear what that purpose-led journey looks like, we looked at our priorities as a strategy and said, perhaps being a force for good remains a strategic pillar of our organization, not only as a CSI lens, but as the way we do business. And I think in our strategic pillar, we introduced that in our 5 strategic pillars. And then over the last few weeks and months, you've observed us coming up with a new positioning for our organization. And that positioning links it very well with our purpose, with our intent, which is community-centric, which is human-centric, which simply says, your story matters. And your story matters to us as a bank. Your story matters to us as a community. Your story matters to us as professionals in the organization. So this strategic shift makes us believe that we can go forward and do a lot more in our communities. That also forced us to start thinking around what can we do for society beyond just the 1% that is expected of us. And that's when we launched the BE scheme last year. Within that BE scheme, we established what we call the CSI Trust. Now, that CSI Trust allows us to spend, what we spent last year was shy of 300 million in contributing to communities. Now, we've got an additional buffer that is about 120 million that we can now take back into communities through the CSI Trust. All of these key elements are the key of why we do what we do as an organization, trying to move society forward. I think one of the things then, once we're clear organizationally where we're going, we said, what does our social change agenda mean and look like? And I think we've decided that, I love the poll that went up earlier around where should corporates be focusing their investment? Because as an organization, we found a space where we saw that not many organizations are investing to drive social change. And that space for us was entrepreneurship. Because we cannot raise young people that are job seekers. Why don't we start raising young people that are job creators? And I think we're starting to ask ourselves questions around what does this mean and what should it look like? And that is why we'll be up here today to unpack what we mean by our strategy that is focused on entrepreneurship. Our payoff line is financial inclusion through entrepreneurship. At the core of it is that as a financial institution, we have a duty and a responsibility to drive financial inclusion. So we will never absolve ourselves of that responsibility. But we are now starting to think about entrepreneurship, particularly entrepreneurship education. We'll be dialoguing on that. As part of our topic for today on enabling intergenerational inclusion through entrepreneurship, we would like to introduce to you our keynote speaker, who will then unpack to all of you so that you can also join us in this movement of bringing entrepreneurship into the center stage of driving social change around making data-driven decisions on entrepreneurship. And I think once we've gotten through that conversation, we'll then get into the panel. I did ask the Honorable Master of Ceremonies today that you will also get an opportunity to ask our keynote speaker when he presents the topic on data-driven decision-making to advance entrepreneurship in terms of what are some of his thoughts based on your questions. And he will be an extension of our panel going forward. But for us, as Absa, it's really an honor and a privilege to be here. Thank you very much.